Hello and welcome to the 7th square of the Odyssey of Textures blanket. This is the cluster braid square. For materials, you will need a basic size 4 yarn, a yarn needle, a 5mm crochet hook, and a pair of scissors. To begin, we will loosely chain 26. For row 1, double crochet to the 4th chain from hook and then into every chain down the row. You will have 24 double crochets. Row 2, chain 1 and turn. Then single crochet down the row. You will have 24 single crochets. For row 3, chain 3. This does count as your first double crochet, now and throughout the rest of the square. Now, double crochet in the next 6 single crochets. As you can see, I went to the next stitch because that chain 3 does count as my first double crochet. So when you're done with these 6 double crochets, you will see 7. As you can see, there are 7 double crochets, including the beginning chain 3. Now, work a front post double crochet into the post of the double crochet from row 1. Skip the single crochet behind this stitch and then place 2 double crochets. You need to work this cluster around the 4th double crochet from that front post double crochet. Pull up a loop even with your hook, yarn over and pull through 2 loops. Repeat this 3 times. Insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, Yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, then yarn over, pull through 2. You have 4 loops on the hook, yarn over and pull through all 4 loops. Skip the stitch that is behind the cluster, then place 2 double crochets. Now work a cluster around the post of the next double crochet that is right next to the first cluster. So the double crochet next to the very first cluster, work another cluster stitch. And again, skip the stitch behind the cluster and place 2 double crochets. Now, working into that row below again, place another front post double crochet. I like to count the cluster as the first, then the 2 in the middle, and then that 4th one is where I place the post. Skip the stitch behind and go to the next and double crochet to the last 7 stitches. You should have 24 stitches when you're done with this row. This is the hardest row of this square, but once it is completed, the rest of the square becomes simpler. The square should also mirror itself on either side of the center line. Row 4 is a lot simpler. Chain 1 and turn. Then simply single crochet down the row. You will have 24 single crochets. For row 5, we chain 3 and turn. Then we place 6 double crochets. Place a front post double crochet around the post of the previous front post double crochet from row 3. Remember to skip the stitch behind it. Then place 2 double crochets. Remember the 2 double crochets that are between the cluster stitches? Place a cluster stitch around the double crochet that is to the left of your first cluster. Skip the stitch behind the cluster and then place 2 double crochets. Now work a cluster into the double crochet from row 3 that is to the right of the second cluster you made from that row. So working into the 2 double crochets from row 3, place a cluster stitch. The first one is to the left and the second one is to the right. Skip the stitch behind the cluster and place 2 double crochets. Work a front post double crochet around the front post double crochet from row 3. Skip the stitch behind this and then place 7 double crochets. You will have 24 stitches when you're done with this row. Again, this row should mirror itself down the middle of the square. To complete this square, repeat rows 4 and 5 until the square measures approximately 7 inches. Once the square is 7 inches, or as close as you can make it, it's time for the border. Chain 1 and turn. 3 single crochets into the corner. "25 evenly spaced single crochets along the side. Repeat this around the square. Each corner receives 3 single crochets and each side receives 25 evenly spaced single crochets. To join, you will slip stitch into the beginning chain 1. Then you fasten off. I like to mark the front of my square with a slip of paper and a pin.